Hello. Oh, I think the way I'm going to do this is similar to how I've done Nuclear Throne and memory stuff in the past, where I'll play like 2 or 3 rounds, and then I die twice. Switch over, we'll memorize some stuff for a little bit. It's going to be a little weird memorizing a play, because there are less definitive chunks memorizing presidents, but oh well. Give it a try. One. See how that. Let's roll. I just want to see what they did. Understood. That looks like. Right. Should we random it? I gotta get used to my mouse. My DPI is slightly different. So I will be blaming that. If anything goes. Okay. A chicken. I prefer French. Have to. I'm bad. Ooh. Also, we keep rolling. So if you're not familiar with Nuclear Throne, which you have to be, considering I think I'm currently the only person streaming it. So how did you find this otherwise? Melee weapons can reflect projectile. These green sort of pellety ones do not get reflected, they just get destroyed. Let's go to the pizza soup. There's a secret level we can do. Hello. We leveled up twice, this is crazy. Your face is nice. Well, fuck it. We can keep a melee build. Targets. I'm pretty sure without Scare Your Face, you can't one-shot the reds with the sword. So that's significant. Maybe I'll try to take that. Looking for a manhole cover. So keep your eyes. Okay. Might be the last enemy. Open that up. Grab this because I want it. I guess I could forget that I the weapon. Chicken's like right click ability, active ability. See if you notice any familiar faces down here. One turtle. 4 turtles in a row. Salt slug. Yeah, we're bringing that. Okay. Spicy. Plasma. Fresh one. I wouldn't mind some health. Maybe that's just me. Because it's funny. And we've seen. One. I'm gonna tinker with a few. Setting one. And this. Oh lord, I'm bad at this game. We got some help. Chicken can run around like chicken with its head cut off. Come back to life after going below 0 HP. Does lower. Was 11. 10. That can be remedied. Now I'm just happy to be alive. That's right. Really gotta find. Very useful here. Bounce himself away. I was like, boy, was that a bad idea. Alright, we died several times. There. Oh no. Not like this. Not like this. Like this. Bummer. Oh, let's do one more. Go back to. First time back in several months. Okay with Crystal. Chicken. know the proper, like, econ. I feel like the extra range. That would be correct. Nuts for me, fellas. Just wait. We are apparently still waking up, despite it being time of day that it is. Some of the shoddiest. Oh, I have to do it. Now we're trigger finger. Ooh, oh, I want all of these. What the fuck? I literally want all 4 of these. This is the correct choice. This is the one I'm thinking. Let's go. Oh, well, whoops. Yeah, yes. Maybe boiling veins so I just don't get blown up. Seems like a bit of picture there, I guess. There's a lot of fire in there. Alright. I'm more in control of my destiny. whatever that latest broken was, got in, I think. With the bolt arrow. Some of this. That was relatively painless. If I take the hyper yeah, I don't think the doing it. Not being as good in this stage where I don't want to be in. Find another melee weapon out. Happy to. That card now. There it goes. Right. Then I guess it is time. Already. Would you believe that that's what the settings were at, based on how loud the game can be? That's... Welcome to it. We're going to start just at the beginning. Just bore straight through it. I have the advantage of having done this play several times and read it several times, so a lot of it is already in my... I'm basically going to go through, see how much I know, and then use the techniques that I have to help for parts that I don't know. So there are some monologues or lists or specific little itty-bitty wording things that I might not know exactly, and I would like to get exact. And so this would just let me fill in some of the gaps of the stuff that I've already picked up. That's a perfectly reasonable way to use techniques. It's like there are things that you know your phone, but you don't need, so it would be kind of silly, I guess, to put a technique in for but it's not silly to use techniques to help fill in some of the gaps in that. So this isn't an excuse to just say, well, let me just like repeat it a bunch of times and forgo the techniques. That's not what I meant. But rather using the techniques to fill in gaps in your knowledge. I've said that several times now. Let's just get started. If you haven't seen or read a Midsummer Nights Dream, I'd recommend it. It's a good time. I'm pretty confident in this first sort of chunk. So looking away. Now fair Hippolyta, our nuptial hour draws on apace, for happy days bring another moon, but on me slow this old moon wanes. She lingers my desires like to a stepdame or a dowager, long withering out a young revenue. A young man revenue? Not possessive? Sec. Let's check another version. Pretty sure it was a young man's revenue. Dowager long withering out a young man revenue. This would not be the first time that I found a typo in the MIT Shakespeare thing. Great site generally, It's shakespeare.mit.edu, and all the full text plays just as one big page. But it does have several small punctuation errors. 1037. Let's flip. Like thin Bible pages. Green. Yep. So the Norton says young man's revenue. Apostrophe. That sounds more correct to me. Otherwise, the sentence doesn't. Chalk up the typos found in in the Norton or in the Shakespeare at MIT. Got one in the first batch of. And Hippolyta says, 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night, 4 nights will quickly dream away the time. And then the moon, like to a silver bow new bent in heaven, shall behold the night of our solemnity. Solemnity. Plural. It's interesting. Okay, so here's a discrepancy that is up to your interpretation, I think. Either like to a silver bow new bent in heaven, or like to a silver bow now bent in heaven. That's what the Norton has. We've got options. I knew it as new, like to a silver bow new bent in heaven, because she's talking about the new moon. But that might just be me. So behold the night of our solemnity. That is not negotiable. Plural. Solemnity is. 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night, 4 nights will quickly dream away the time. Moon like to a silver bow, new now, bent in heaven. So behold the night of our solemnity. Theseus says, go, Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriment, turn melancholy forth to serve, awake the pert and nimble spirit. Okay, so this is the first opportunity. This is a line that's often cut, or I've seen mangled a little bit, like changed in the show. So I need to figure out a way to make sure I don't miss it. Behold the night of our solemnities. Go, Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriments. Here as well. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth, from melancholy forth to funerals, the pale companion is not. So, go Philostrate. I'm gonna go with the Pillsbury Doughboy, because it lets me to stir up the Athenian youth to merriments, and he's a generally happy guy, the Pillsbury Doughboy. And it kind of sounds like Philostrate, and it could also be like Philo Dough. Fun there. So, go Philostrate, the Pillsbury Doughman. Stir up the Athenian youth to merriments, and I'm just picturing insert generic image of a young Athenian boy wearing a toga, because that's the image that I conjure up. And then awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. These are all separate, like, commands. Go Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriments, awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth, turn melancholy forth. So, go Philostrate. I'm going to have him do each of these 3 things in sequence. Remember that it is a list of 3 actions, and that it all comes off of Philostrate. So go Philostrate first. He stirs up the Athenian youth to merriments. I'm confident that if I get stir up, I'll remember the Athenian youth to merriments. Heard the line before, so I don't feel the need to come up with an image for that whole line word. Usually that's not necessary. Word by word memorization or verbatim memorization is usually not a great goal. But when you've sort of got it rocking around in your head, this just helps you get started on it. So that's the first. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of. So I'm going to have the Pillsbury Doughboy awaking pert and nimble spirit. I mean, the first thing when I read pert that comes to mind is the formula for continuous compounding, right? E equals E times E to the RT. But I don't know how to make that an image. Maybe it could be like bacteria that are continuously compounding, duplicating. And he is waking them up, and they start multiplying and growing legs and running around very quickly. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. It could work. So he's got. I'm gonna lean into the science idea, stem with pert and type of idea. So awake. Maybe he's banging on the table with a hammer, or he's ringing a alarm, something like that. Wake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. The third one, turn melancholy forth to funerals. I'm just going to picture a bunch of sad people in all black in mourning, and he is going to grab them by the shoulders, turn them, push them towards the graveyard where the funeral is going. Maybe someone got lost. Some mourner was so distraught that they didn't see which way the rest of the procession went, so they kind of got lost and had to be turned around, guided back to the funerals. The pale companion is not for our pomp, and maybe that person that's being pushed away is pale. And yeah, let's have them have a second person. So these two people got lost. Turn melancholy forth to funerals. Oh, there's another person. The pale companion, this guy, the pale one, is not for our pomp. And I think I'll know is same as stir up the Athenian youth. I get that seed phrase. I'm confident I'll be able to get the rest of it. So, all of that to say, Theseus says in response to Shall behold the night of our solemnities, plural, go, Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriments, awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth, turn melancholy forth to funerals. Pale companion is not for our pomp. Cool. Let's finish this Theseus line. I think I know. I'm going to stop before Aegeus's monologue, because there are a lot of little things in here, like Aegeus lists a bunch of stuff. And I know that I'm going to mix those up. And so I want to take some time to come up with a way to get hair, rings, gods, conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegay, sweetmeats, messengers, all in, technically messengers sentence. To get those in a list. And I don't want to do that right this second, because it's a big chunk. How about we... a good text? Pleasant. I'm going to finish Theseus, Aegeus, Theseus. And we're going to stop before this Aegeus monologue, and this is what I'll do after 2 more deaths in Nuclear Throne. He says, Hippolyta, I wooed thee with my sword, and won thy love doing the injuries, but I will wed thee with another key, pomp with triumph and reveling. We have the same thing here. Although interestingly, I see reveling with 2 L's and then reveling with 1 L in the Norton, and I wonder why. Welcome, if you're not familiar, to the wide world of Shakespeare reproductions. Like, it's fucking all over the place. It is crazy. And it's no thanks to, there not being a standard grammatical structure and spelling and stuff. Like, a lot of this was made up. But you do find wide array. Shakespeare spelled his own name time to time. So, let alone other words. Hippolyta, I would thee with my sword, and won thy love doing the injuries. I will wed another key with triumph. Aegeus busts in, dragging Hermia by the wrist, presumably. Says, Happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. Yeah, I think it would be renowned there. Scan it out. Happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. Should figure out a way to draw on the screen. Bothered trying to find that out yet. That could be nice in order to be able to show like scansion that. But see my cursor, it's Happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. The alternative would be what? Happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. That could work. That feels weird to me. And the Norton has an accent on the insinuating that it should be Theseus and renowned. I'm gonna go with that. Happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. Thanks, good Aegeus, what's the news with thee? So, up until this point, we have had, now fair Hippolyta, our nuptial hour draws on apace, for happy days bring in the moon, but only thinks how slow this old moon wanes. She lingers, my desires like to a stepdame or a dowager, long withering out a young man's revenue. Yes, because that makes sense to me. Hippolyta says 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night, 4 nights will quickly dream away the time, and then the moon, like to a silver bow, new, bent in heaven, shall behold the night of our solemnities, plural. Theseus says, Go, Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriment. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. Is it one spirit? Yeah, it is. Okay. I'll have to. If there's a petri dish that is being awoken, there is only one. I don't try to make that clear in my. Alternatively, thinking of another way of doing it, that there are a bunch of bacteria in this petri dish multiplying to get pert. And they're all moving really sluggishly, except for one who is running around with legs, really nimble. That's the nimble spirit of mirth. There's only one. That's all I remember. It's singular. Go, Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriments. Yeah. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. Turn melancholy forth to funerals. The pale companion is not for our pomp. Hippolyta, I wooed thee with my sword, and one that loved doing the injuries, but I will wed thee in another pomp with triumph and with reveling. Happy be Theseus, our renowned duke. Thanks, good Aegeus, what's the news with thee? Boom. Bada bop. There's some of it. So, when we come back, we're going to do this monologue. Roughly the same amount of text. Cool. But for now, press some more buttons. Boom. We're back. Find me. Alright. Let's run it back. Should I pick a character this time? Because frankly, there's some that I wouldn't really want to play. And if I don't want to play them, I don't think it's fun to watch either. So, the robot run. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, fuck it. I'll bring the golden grenade launcher. Could be fun. Okay, pardon my silence while I think really hard so I don't kill myself. For a period of time, my mouse, the left click had like given up, and so I had rebound the middle mouse click to be the left click, which I know sounds hellish, and it kind of was, but it allowed me to get like several, probably a year plus additional use out of this mouse. It was a decent mouse. But it meant that in Nuclear Throne, where the scroll wheel can let you change weapons, that if I ever used an explosive weapon, it was very likely I would blow myself, because I would accidentally scroll into the explosive weapon once of me. Leave me alone, I'm just trying to eat some guns. Okay. That's good. That's right. Damn, these are some good ones. Big strong spirit. And laser. Just feel like the correct choice. Like in a moderately safe area. too much to ask. That maggot just took a grenade, quite literally, for this guy. This is a sizable level. Good amount of rads, though. I'm not complaining. I don't want this. Cool. That was a good level. Guess I'll take the scary face. Probably should have taken the boiling veins if I'm going to keep using this grenade launcher, but I don't think I am. Alrighty. This way. I mean, at this point, it won't. I stand by. Any loose pads? Do I want that? Yeah, probably. Thanks, grenade launcher. Robot can eat guns, if that was evident. Nice. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, hey friends. There's a party up there. You know I want it. Like, don't think I can justify it. I have none of the mutations to me. I gotta scare your face. I had like trigger thing. Yeah. But I don't. I really has the jukes. See that much. Old friend. That was it. Time for the boss. How to dodge. Dodge more. Might be good. No, you don't. Get out of my face. Choose to be treated this way. I can't aim for shit. Take the wave. That sounds like fun. Gotta be it. Health. That's fun. I don't think I want it. Oh, that on the other hand, fun, and I want it. We're doing stuff. I don't think I want any of these. Patience. Guys. Settle. Put that car down, sir. Shoot your eye out. Oh my god. Just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Oh my goodness. More correct. Probably the trigger. No, you not let you take this from me. I will not let you take this from me. This is a beautiful run. No. What you're interesting. Okay. Yeesh. Over you. Gonna tussle. No, you do not. You won't take this from me either. Okay. Put that car down. Know what's good for you. That card. Okay. Gee. Don't spook me like that. Oh. Bloodlust here. No, you're in here somewhere. Okay. That was a sufficient way to handle that situation. That was the whole. That was a very short labs. I guess I can't complain. Weird. It's like one room. Please die. Okay. shotgun's kind of fun. I might actually prefer that auto cross. Is that sacrilegious? Look, I don't have to think. Could be better than that. Try to come back. Yeah. This will be fine. It'll be fine. There's no way that enough spawn in between those problems and I totally choke and mess it up. See, I got extra. Nope. Okay. 11. You will not take this from me. I won't let you. Okay, we'll worry about lunch later. I think I'll worry about it now. That's appealing. Oh lordy. Plasma cannon. Is that ever correct? Give ammo? Have the trigger finger. Oh god, I don't know how to make a decision. God, that's slow. I can justify. Haven't fought the throne in a while. I haven't played this game in a while, granted, but forget. No. That's not ideal. Look. Too much to ask for energy, I'm assuming. This is not a good look for me. Holy Lord. Oh, no, no, no. Oh my god. I can say with confidence that I have never killed the throne from behind before. That is a new one for me. Please leave me alone. Oh my god, I didn't realize it did that much, like, insta damage. This is to be expected. Damn, that was quite the run. Wow. Yeah, never killed the throne from behind. That is interesting. That is a new one to me. take a second, try to figure some stuff out settings-wise. And I will come back. Okay. Yeah. And that'll work. Sweet. Fixed some things, took the opportunity to get myself a biscotti. All is well. That was one run. So I think I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to memorize the Jesus monologue, and I might call it there. Fry my brain. Ish run. Morning. Alright. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Deal. Excellent start. I think something that gets me aiming wise, just it's having my mouse really far away from myself. Oh, that health would have. Need to pay more attention. Damn, I got all relaxed after that, beating the throne. For fish, we get more ammo. And this run is clearly going to go all the way, so. Alright, I'm going to blame the biscotti. I'm going to do one more. I think I should clarify that I have to at least make it past Big Bandit for the run to count. Yeah, that seems fair. I was literally about to say, see how much better this one is going? Well. That has to be cool. I guess. You want crazy? You go crazy. Okay. Look, I'm saving it. That's right. Jesus. Okay. What's going on? Do I want... Oh, do I want that more than a pistol? That's hard to say. Say no. Cursor. Yeah. That's probably correct. Yeah. Not necessarily terrific. That's more fun. little spooky. Honestly, might take last pitch. Don't really like the other round. 8 health. My strongest. Okay. No, I don't. Whoopsies. Dodgy decisions. Okay, we turned that around. It's gotta be the health. I need it. What are you doing? Slipping by there. It's gotta be the most like spread out. Oh no. I do not think so. That was the most like expansive little hunter fight I've ever had. All over the place. I find the flame weapons really fun. I don't think they're necessarily that good, but I really wish I could use them. Oh no. I can't be having this. Kind of spooky. Oh, get out of my face. That's more fun. But I don't know where. God. Nobody saw that. Yeah. glad I didn't take a wish. I think right. Riskier option. Oh, let me squeeze out a level before. Let's do that. I don't have. Morning. Don't have a melee weapon, I'm gonna feel that. Hello? Can we do less of that? Oh. Bummer. Happens. Buttons. Alright. We've got a monologue to memorize. Pretty confident in the first, like, the beginning and end of this piece. Somewhere in the middle. There's that long list of things that Lysander has done that it gives me a hard time. Full of vexation come I with complaint against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius. My noble lord, this man hath my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander, and my gracious duke. This man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou hast by... Okay. So, thou hast bewitched the bosom of my child. That much I'm pretty comfortable. Where it starts to get weird, because everyone cuts this monologue differently. So I don't necessarily have the correct or fullest version in my head. Lysander, my gracious duke, bewitched the bosom of my child. Alright. Then goes, thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens. Thou hast by moonlight at her window sung with voice verses of faint, stolen the impression of her fantasy. And then we get into this long list. Bracelets of thy hair, rings, gods' conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegays, sweetmeats, messengers of strong prevailment and ardent. Okay, so it's basically just that list. And the thou, Lysander. Remembering that pickup. Going to start that line. So we have thou, Lysander. Stand forth, Lysander, and my gracious duke, this man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. And then Aegeus turns to Lysander. Thou, Lysander. Thou hast given her rhymes, interchanged love tokens with my child. That's the only thing that's weird to me, is that it's given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child, referring to the same person. It's her, also my child. And I know that it's meant to establish that Hermia is Aegeus' daughter, but still. So the images can be thou, Lysander, has given her rhymes. This one is slightly rude, but I was in a production of Much Ado About Nothing at some point, and one of the guys in the cast always said thou as thou, even after being corrected. It was very confusing. Picture him, because this line has three thous and say thou. So thou, Lysander. I'm gonna picture this guy giving someone sheet music, let's say. Because we have singing later. Giving them poems. Maybe a book of poetry, like a chapbook kind of thing. I was giving her rhymes and interchanged love tokens. Love token. So This guy's gonna give someone his chapbook of poems that has given her rhymes. In exchange, he's gonna receive a handful of like little tokens, like tabletop tokens. It's a board game. They're shaped like hearts, and interchanged love tokens with my child. So it's a child. He's giving this to a child. Let's say. Um, thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child. Rebecca, thou hast by moonlight at her window sung. So I'm going to picture this guy sitting in the moon a la DreamWorks, playing a guitar. I watched Coco last night to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and I kind of picturing a guy with a guitar. That's a great image. So he's sitting in the moon. By moonlight at her window sung. Feigning voice verses of feigning love. I just know that line, but let's add on to this idea of a Coco kind of thing, Land of the Dead, so feigning death. He's fallen over into the moon repeatedly and pretended to be dead. That has with feigning voice verses of feigning. Stolen the impression of her fantasy. Genuinely, the first image that comes to mind is Morgan Freeman's character in Night at the Museum stealing impressions of the keys, because that is the first time I remember feeling betrayed by a fictional character. That really hurt me. Stolen the impression of her fantasy. Then we get into this. Stolen the impression of her. So, full of vexation, come I with complaint against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius, my noble lord. This man hath my consent to marry. Stand forth, Lysander, and my gracious duke. This man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens. Thou hast by moonlight at her window sung with feigning voice verses of feigning love, stolen the impression of her fantasy. With, I just gotta make a list. Bracelets of the hair, rings, gauds, conceits. Bracelets of the hair. Rifles, sweetmeat. Got 8 things to remember. I think I'll just stack them. Matryoshka doll kind of idea. So that they'll all just be like related to each other essentially, so that it flows like a chain. And this is another popular method for just like quickly remembering something, like a grocery list. I don't need like deep storage for a grocery list. I don't need to remember the order of the produce that I want to buy in 6 months. Like I don't need to remember it 6 months from now. So something like this, where you just sort of create an image where you mash all of the things you want to remember together, makes it a lot easier and faster. Use up space. So I'm basically just going to stack these things, or have them one hitting the next, so that I can in sequence, and that one will cue the next one. We have bracelets of thy hair. I'm going to picture. I went to an antique shop once in like Arizona, and I'm always looking for fountain pens and vintage razors and stuff like that. So they're usually in little sort of cardboardy boxes. And there was one time that I saw a box like that, and I thought there was going to be a straight razor in it or something like that. And I opened it up, and there was some paper folded over or something that said, Dad's Hair, 1916. Sure enough, if you peeled the paper back, hair, lock of someone's hair, someone's, it was a father, I presume's, hair from 1916 in the box, which was something. Beautiful penmanship. Excellent cursive, of course. But yeah, so Dad's Hair, 1916. The point of that is that will be my bracelets of hair, because that is the only thing I think of to bracelets of hair. Bracelets of thy hair. We have that. It's going to be linked, like, literally linked like a circle, the bracelet of hair and the ring. Those would be like that. A bracelet of hair. Several rings, I think. Either connected this way or connected. Maybe both. Let's do both. Bracelets of the hair, several rings. So bracelets of the hair, rings. Gauds, which trinkets, clever gift. So it's trinkets, and conceits are clever gifts. So it's what you would expect, I guess. I'm going to use a phonetic image then, because trinkets is going to get lost in my brain. I won't remember if the word that I'm trying to produce is trinket or knickknack or gift, or I need to remember that it's gauze, almost divorced from the meaning. And so I will picture gods, like Greek pantheon kind of thing. Keep it Athenian. I think I'll picture the ones from the Disney animated Hercules. It's great, and they're very distinct. That image of Zeus is very. So we'll do Zeus and Hades. Those are gods. So they're fighting over one of the rings. Let's say, holding on one side, one's holding. They're pulling against the ring. Then conceits. Conceits. Generally, I would advise against trying to come up with an image to depict an abstract concept, as opposed to an image that like helps you get to the word or phrase of the abstract concept. If that makes sense. So rather than trying to imagine what a conceit would look like actually taking place, something like what I did with gods, where it gets you to the sound, gets you to the spelling, or gets you to the definition, as opposed to the thing itself. If I'm trying to remember a heist, that's a bad example. Picture like a safe. But with something like conceits, rather than trying to come up with describing a conceit in an image, I think it is easier to get something that will get me to conceits, like receipts. I know that the word would not be receipts, so I know that if I remember a receipt, paper receipt, that I won't confuse it for the wrong word. Bracelets of the hair, rings, gauds, seats. I'm going to picture issuing forth from the gods that are fighting over this ring that is hooked around a bracelet of hair is a really, really like comically long CVS receipt. I think I saw a video recently. This woman who went as a CVS receipt, which is a popular thing on Halloween, is a good joke. And it just kept going. Like it was the length of the living room. So we've got a receipt. And then we need knacks, which is like knickknacks, shortened. Trifles, nosegays, or bouquets, if they're a type of flower. Sweetmeats, and these all are messengers of strong prevailment. So, brings gods, conceits, the receipt rolling away, and knacks. Deciding between a couple of different ideas. Don't really like any of them. So. Next, okay, sweet meat. I don't want to say that I will just remember it, because I know that that is not going to generally prove itself to be true. Bracelets of thy hair, rings, gods, conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegays, sweet. Yeah. I'm gonna picture a knapsack, because Eli did that gives me nap, sack, knack. Just to make a decision. The knapsack. The receipt rolls into, like, is unfurling. It's a knapsack that, when you open it up, is full of truffles. Both truffles like bonbons, chocolate, and also truffles like truffles sniffing pigs. So that was what the knapsack or knack was full of, were rifles. And then nosegays. I picture a bird, but I know that it isn't. Like, I'm confident that it is a type of flower. Bunch of small flowers, typically one that is sweet scented. So it's exactly what you would imagine. Bunch of cute little bouquet of flowers. The first picture is with Queen of England. That helps get it in your mind. So nosegays. I think I would rather have it be a nose with like a gay pride flag. Because I don't think remembering a bouquet of flowers is going to remember the word nosegays. So the trifles, which are truffles and truffles, which would smell really nice, are being smelled by a huge nose. Yeah. I'm picturing the flying nose from Munchkin, Steve Jackson's card game, if you're familiar. So it's that nose. And it is wearing a gay pride flag as like a cape around like the bridge of the nose. So nosegays. And then holding on to the back of the cape, something to represent sweet meat. Which I think I'm just going to picture meat that is being made sweet. Actually, no, so I worked in a butcher shop for a few summers, and one of the marinades that we had was a like maple chicken. Hated it. Absolutely awful. Like it was my least favorite thing. It always smelled and tasted like it was off. It wasn't, but it was just so sickly sweet, sickeningly and sickly, that I just absolutely hated it. So that, to me, is meat that was sweet, and it fucking shouldn't have been. It was disgusting. I don't think sweet and protein go together outside of a few choice exceptions, like some teriyaki stuff and something. Like there are definitely ways to do it right, but that maple chicken shit, that was not it. That was not the way to do it. Right? That because like clearly I remember it and I hate it so much. Like it literally made me feel ill when I would marinate it. Like smelling that stuff. Oh god. So that right there are the sweetmeats. Um, and so I'll picture one of the guys that worked at the butcher shop holding onto the flag with one hand and marinating this maple chicken with the other. And all of these are messengers of strong prevailment. Pardon. So I'm going to picture that whole image, the hair, the rings, the gauds, the conceits, the knacks, the trifles, the nosegays, the sweetmeats, are, we like zoom out and we can see all of them encapsulated in like a speech bubble. Hermes, messenger god, is describing it to us. And again, I'll probably picture the Hermes from Disney's Hercules, because it's great. And it's an easy image to have. So he is describing all of this to us. So he is the messenger. Pardon me. Of strong prevailment in unhardened youth. Of strong I think of an image for prevailment. Chainmail came to mind, but I think that's a little too far away from prevailment itself. It would just be a veil. I think if I get that, I'll remember prevail in unhardened youth. So Hermes is telling about these things. Messengers of strong prevailment, and he's taking a really, really strong veil. And this is one direction this could go that's kind of dark. Unhardened youth, I'm thinking of like soft. And for youth, I'm thinking of like a child. And so in unhardened youth, like pushing it into their stomach, baby fat rolls kind of way. Go with me. And he's taking this strong veil, strong prevailment, and putting it in unhardened youth. Sort of like get into the folds of fat on the baby's arms, if you know what I'm talking about. Messengers of strong prevailment in unhardened youth. This is why you do this shit in your head and you don't broadcast it for other people. Because you come up with some weird stuff and you don't want to be judged for it. Too bad. So this is to let you know that you can use whatever the hell you can think of as an image. No one else is in your head unless you tell them what's in your head, but don't generally. And you will get to come up with images that are more memorable. Messengers of strong prevailment in unhardened youth. Not going to forget that. And I'm pretty sure I know these lines. With cunning hast thou filched my daughter's heart and turned her obedience due to me to stubborn harshness. Be it so. No, and. Stubborn harshness. And, my gracious Duke. Be it so she will not hear consent. Will not hear before your grace consent to marry with Demetrius, to beg the law. Beg the ancient privilege, she says. I beg the law later. I'm getting ahead of myself. Ooh, maybe I don't know this as well as I thought. Messengers of strong prevailment in unhardened youth. With cunning hast thou filched my daughter's heart, turned her obedience, which is due to me, stubborn harshness. And my gracious Duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace, will not hear before your grace, consent to marry with Demetrius. I beg the ancient privilege of Athens. She is mine, I may dispose of her. Shall be either to this gentleman or to her death, according to our law immediately provided in that. So, Aegeus is being an ass. But cunning as thou filched my daughter's heart, turned her obedience, which is due to me, to stubborn harshness. And, my gracious Duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace, consent to marry with Demetrius. That's the one that's tripping me up right now. Be it so she. I don't like that semicolon. It doesn't make any sense to me. There isn't one here. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And my gracious Duke, be it so she, and the so here is meaning like if. So she will not hear, like if it were the case that she will not, before your grace, consent to marry with Demetrius, then, if then, or so then, in this stubborn harshness, and my gracious Duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace, consent to marry with Demetrius. Be it so she will not hear before your grace, consent to marry. I beg the ancient privilege of Athens. If she is mine, I may dispose of her, which shall be either to this gentleman, to her death. The law immediately provides. Let's try Aegeus from the top. Full of vexation come I with complaint against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius. My noble lord, this man hath my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander. And, my gracious Duke, this man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes, interchanged love tokens. Thou hast by moonlight at her window sung, with feigning voice, verses of feigning love, stolen the impression of her fantasy. Bracelets of thy hair, rings, gauds, conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegays, sweetmeats, messengers of strong prevailment in unhardened youth. With cunning hadst thou filched my daughter's heart, and her obedience, which is stubborn harshness. And, my gracious Duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace consent to marry with Demetrius, I beg the ancient privilege of Athens, so she will dispose of her, shall be either to this or death, according to our law immediately provided in that case. Rhymes interchange. Yeah, there you go. I'll just do the whole scene for shits. Zoom out. Now, fair Hippolyta, our nuptial hour draws on apace. 4 happy days bring in another moon, but only thinks how slow this old moon wanes. She lingers my desires like to a stepdame or a dowager, long withering out a young revenue. 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night, 4 nights will quickly dream away the time, and then the moon, like to a silver bone new bent in heaven, shall behold the night of our solemnity. Go, Philostrate, stir up the Athenian youth to merriments, plural. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. Turn melancholy forth to funerals. Pale companion is not for our pomp. Hippolyta, I wooed thee with my sword, and won thy love doing the injuries, but I will wed thee in another key, with pomp, with triumph, and with revelling. Aegeus comes in. Happy be Theseus, our renowned Duke. Thanks, good Aegeus. What's the news with thee? Go. Full of vexation come I, with complaint against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius. My noble lord, this man hath my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander. And, my gracious Duke, this man hath bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes. That's it. Thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child. Given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child. Thou hast, by moonlight, at her window sung, with feigning voice, verses of feigning love. Stolen the impression of her fantasy. Bracelets of thy hair, rings, gauds, conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegays, sweetmeats, messengers of strong prevailment in unhardened youth. With cunning hast thou filched my daughter's heart, and turned her obedience, which is due to me, stubborn harshness. Be it so she will not, and my gracious Duke, and my noble lord. I'll have to note that down. Let's do that now, actually. Turn her obedience, which is due to me, to stubborn harshness, and my gracious. I'm gonna picture the Duke with a cheese grater, just to in there, gracious Duke, or your grace, because it's gracious twice. That works. Turn her obedience, which is due to me, to stubborn harshness. And my gracious Duke, be it so she will not hear before your grace consent to marry with Demetrius. I beg the ancient privilege of Athens. If she is mine, I may dispose of her, which shall be either to this gentleman or to her death. Our law immediately provided in that. What say you? Blah blah blah. Cool. So that's the first part of the first scene. We've only got this much to go, you know? Not bad. Maybe a little bit more. Should be quick. And where? So hey, it's something. Thanks for checking it out. I'm gonna keep going. I have every intention of finishing this fucking play, having the entire thing memorized word for word. My goal, I think, is that someone could just throw me a line from Midsummer, and I could go from there, pick it up from there, or go backwards and say who said it in the context and so forth. I'm reasonably confident I could pull that off. I guess the next step beyond that would be someone gives me like 3 words, 3 or 4 words. That could be cool. We'd get love tokens with, and I know that has to exchange and interchange love tokens with that type of thing. So that's the idea. Thanks for checking it out. I will be back and doing more, maybe playing different games, mixing it up from Nuclear Throne. But nonetheless, thanks for checking it out. Have a good rest of your day. Memorize some shit. Ask me questions if you have any. And see you around. Bye.